Hi everybody, I'm Janie and this is my studio. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to try to show you guys how to make some lidded casseroles today. I made a couple last night and they're really cool looking and I'm really happy with them. I did try to log in on my laptop and of course it has to be difficult. So if we could bear with that for just a second, maybe I could actually get that up and going and it wouldn't be so iffy. It did not want me to do a... Okay, you guys are with me. I am going to end this one and I am going to try doing this on my laptop. Hello, Sydney. So I have a definite lag. I'm just going to leave it like this. This is a lidded casserole that I made last night. And you can see that it's a pretty good size. And I used stamps on it. There's the plastic silicone stamps, the clear ones. You're very welcome. This makes my heart happy to do this. Here's the inside. Hello! And here's the inside, and you will see the little rim there that the lid sets on. I've kind of done a few things in advance because this does actually take me longer than an hour to do. I do have a farm, so you will, hello, you will hear farm animals at various times, and you really never know what you're going to hear. So this is a smaller one that I did. And this is where the seam is, and you can cleverly hide it to where it's just a cute little addition. But this is the handle right there. Hello. So I already have some clay that is rolled out. If you don't have a slab roller, you can always use this thing or something similar to it with the sticks that come with it, and you can roll your clay out. This is also good for when you need it to be just a little bit thinner, and you can just go again over top of it to thin it out. So I'm gonna move the camera. I'm gonna move this piece right here over here, because if you don't have a slab roller and you still want to do this, you can always throw your slab. So the reason for throwing a slab like this is great if you want to get out a lot of tension. If somebody's really made you mad, or you know, we're all cooped up and say your spouse gets on your nerves or something, you just want to bang it out, you can do that. It's a great tension reliever. I know being locked up sucks right now. Not really locked up. And usually when I have people here at the house and I'm doing this part scares them. My son likes to come out here with me, and he likes to hold my canvas for me. And he almost gets... What clay bodies do you recommend? I am using a standard Code 6 buff stoneware. And I believe that serial number is 022019. It's a very good clay body, and it's great for what I like it for throwing as well as hand building. The only setback to it is that it does have a tendency to dry out a lot quicker than some of the other clay bodies that I've used before. So I want this one to be a little bit wider this way than I do this way, because I'm going to be using these plates right here as my template for what I'm doing. And it definitely needs to be thinner than that. But the more I can get out of one slab, the better. So I'll explain this thing in a minute. That's for chasing pesky kids out. I was so looking forward to Msika this year because it was in my backyard, literally. In my backyard. 20 minutes from my house. Okay. So I love these. I love these right there. I'm here. Are you there? This is a little yellow rib, and it's one of those real plastic mud tool thingies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth the clay out. And you could do all this on the pottery wheel, and you could do it a whole lot quicker. But there are some days that I don't want to do this on a pottery wheel, that I just want to get lost in the clay. I tell my husband Clay's my boyfriend. Hello. I want to thank everybody for joining me too. I'm getting ready to flip this over, so I put this on there. I put the fabric on here to keep any more canvas marks from getting on my clay. Hello! North Carolina, that's where I learned to do pottery. Alright, so now that I have this all nice and smoothed out, I'm going to use my little knife here, and I'm going to cut around these dishes. You can use absolutely any dish that suits your fancy. My tripod's not cooperating, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Promise, I'm trying. So you can use this, or you can use a cardboard cutout. You can use a plastic plate. You can use a lid from a paint bucket. Any of these things work to make your base and your lid. You will have to have 2 of each of these. So I'm going to cut 2 of these out. Please excuse my baby chickens as they scream. You're welcome. I hope that people can take this and utilize it and make beautiful things. So there's one. I'm going to cut that piece off, ball it up, because we'll probably use it again. And I'm just going to lift that right on up. And you see we have our oval. Now I'm going to set that to the side. And I'm going to cut the second one out, which is going to become our lid. The most beautiful thing about clay is that it is so versatile. So I've got the second one cut out. I'm going to go ahead and cut these little guys out too. I pick stuff up at work all the time. And my co-workers look at me like I'm absolutely nuts, which I kind of am, but I'm okay with that and I own it. But I always tell them, oh, this is what I'm going to do with this. And they don't know what I'm talking about. So they're just like, okay, Janie. And I'm like, okay. So now, like this piece of cardboard that I picked up, there were 4 of them in there, and I know exactly what was packaged in it. It was a pack of Stokes bird feeders. So there is that and this. What are you making today? Sorry I missed your intro. Dorothy, I am making some hand-built casseroles, lidded vessels, yes. So I'm going to set this aside and I put it in a bag because, like I said, this clay has a tendency to dry out pretty quickly. Now, you see the strip right here is one that I previously rolled out. And I didn't cut it because I wanted to share with you guys how I get the width. Now I've got enough of those ovals cut out for 2 pieces. 2 lidded vessels. If you do enough of this at once, you can, those Ziploc totes are really good for keeping things fresh. So this right here is a piece of molding that I picked up years ago when I had a really, really old house. And it is the perfect width for what I need it for. So I'm going to use it to cut out the wall. This is going to be the wall of the vessel here. And it doesn't matter if it's not even on the end or not. And guys, this is a first for me, so thanks for being patient for me. What clay am I using? I am using standard Cone 6 buff stoneware. It fires out really pretty. Alright, we'll put this aside. So at this point, this is where you get to get really fun. You get to do really fun stuff at this point. This is where you go ahead and you put your design onto the wall of your pot. That way it's already there. Is that about 4 inches? I'm not really good with measuring. That is 3 1/4 inches wide. And I always eyeball about what I'm going to need for the base. But right now it's like 25 inches long. So I'm going to flip this over really quick. I'm going to take off the canvas marks from the other side. And this is why I never worry if it's too long or not, because this will stretch your clay just a little bit longer, and that's okay. It'll thin it out just a little bit. Why would you want to do this if you have a pottery wheel and you have the ability to do it on a pottery wheel? Because not everybody wants to do these on the pottery wheel. They're actually about 3/4. So everywhere I go, I am always looking for stuff. As far as texture, I am always looking for anything that contains texture. It catches my eye and I think, oh, that would be absolutely stunning to have on a piece of pottery. And this is a placemat that I found at Bed Bath & Beyond. Hello, thank you for joining us. We're making lidded vessels. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to press it, and I want to get that edge straight again. So I just do it like this and it straightens it up. But I'm going to lay this on here just like this. And then I'm going to take my roller This made me think of a very Art Deco pattern. It's a very Art Deco pattern to me. And if you don't get it all the way down, if you're careful, you can put it back down. And re-roll it just a tidbit. I know I'm moving you guys around a lot, but it's weird having someone to talk to. I'm usually out here alone. And that matched up perfectly. So here's the pattern. And I will save that pattern for, I'll keep that close to me for when I do the lid as well, because I will incorporate that into the lid. So I'm going to take the first base that I rolled out, Tim C has always made me laugh when he calls his things the metal ribs of death. And I have a serrated metal rib of death, and that is what I use. I've got probably about 50 chicks, ducks, and turkeys over there in my brooder. I'm a chicken hoarder. I'm going to use a little bit of water. I'm going to get my water bucket over here because we need it. And you are, of course, going to score the bottom. This makes it quick, easy, and painless for me. And it really doesn't matter if it's like 100% accurate, because you will see in a moment that it's kind of obsolete. This particular pattern, I think I want it to face down with that shell, because I just like it like that better. And then I could possibly incorporate an actual clay scallop onto the lid as a part of the handle. I love chickens. Right? Serrated rib of death for the win. Beat that, Tim. Beat it. And I'm very simplistic. I don't use a lot of fancy stuff, you know. I'm a pretty basic gal. So this clay had a little bit more moisture in it than I typically use. I'm going to go ahead and start placing it. And it's hard to look at this and go, oh my God, that's gonna be a casserole dish. Look at that. It looks so funky right now. It's hard to believe. You just want to go, what the funk? I can't believe it. Say it ain't so. And I'm just kind of pushing it along. And now I'm going to grab this nifty little wear board, and I should have started it on the wear board, but you know, hey, this will give me the ability to turn it around. I bet Stacy was a lot more interesting than I am. She's a pretty funny gal. There. I do this thing a lot where I'm looking for something and I look around. So I kind of wish I had one of those Go Gear cameras on my forehead, because that'd be a lot easier for me to show you some stuff than having to do it and feeling like my elbows are tied. But you see how this looks right here. I'm going to cut this at an angle and cut this side at an angle so that it just goes in seamlessly, okay? And I like to start on the inside, because then I can see where I need to be for the outside. And I'm just going to see how that looks, how it feels. You usually want to do this like on the end of the vessel for me, because then it kind of hides that seam if it doesn't look great or anything like that. This is so relaxing listening to you. All the peeping in your voice. Aw, Stacy, you're so sweet. I love listening to my chicks. My male goose is out there and he's rather pissed off today because I took away his girlfriend that was not the breed he is, and he's having to get used to the new girls, and he doesn't like them. He keeps biting them. He's so mean. That's Pork Chop. No, that's RuPaul. RuPaul's out there hollering. I go out there and I say, RuPaul, RuPaul. And he answers back. I mean, because peacocks are the original drag chickens, you know. Alright, I'm going to show you all this in just a second. Oh my god, 117 people are watching me. I am like, oh wow. I've been so nervous all day. Alright peeps, so this is what I'm doing. We're going to try to do it this way. Even though I can't see, I want y'all to be able to see what I'm doing. Alright, so this is the inside right here. And this is what I am taking and just putting over top of each other. I know there's technical terms for all this, but you know, I'm just not there. Y'all chickens are getting noisy over there. Y'all need to eat your food and be quiet. Bad chickens. Woo! Alright. So, that is nice and smoothed out right there. And you can just barely see the seam on the outside. Thank you, Christine. And thank you, Dawn. Dawn, weren't you the one that had the, you did the crystalline shot glasses for NCECA 2011? Was it you or Dawn? Which one? Aren't you the one that did those? Alright, so here's our seam. And you can just try to make it look a little obsolete. And this is why I like to put the pattern on first. And y'all, we all know that glaze hides a multitude of sins. So the very next thing that I'm going to do, Jesus, it's already 7:30. Stacy, is there anybody after me? So I'm going to roll a coil out. Because this is going to go along the inside of the piece. And it doesn't have to be perfect or beautiful, because it's all going to get mushed in there. But I do actually do this, and this is why I don't ever worry about on the inside. You'll see where there are places that are still scored from where I scored the piece originally. So now I'm going to pull this back over here. Chicken, be quiet. Be quiet, I said. And I'm putting this all along the inside. There will be extra. And it doesn't matter if it falls off and breaks off, because it's all going into the same place. Now if I have extra, I'll pinch it off. So this is what it looks like right now. Now I'm going to adjust the feet so that y'all can watch. There we go. I like using this tool only because of the thumb piece. If I could cut, I should just cut this off because it would make my life a lot easier. And I really don't use these wood tools a lot. I use a lot of, I don't use a lot of wood tools. So I'll go ahead and start talking about the lid, because when we do the lid, it's just going to be this other oval draped in here. And there are two ways that you can do a galley for. There's two ways you can do a galley for the lid. One, you can add a galley. No, I don't think it was me, Zach. Or you can just add a piece of clay at the top before you put your slab top on there. Or if your walls are thick enough, then you can push it down and make a galley. Or you can put a thing on your lid to keep it from knocking around, because that's important. You don't want it knocking around, dropping off, breaking. All right, so I'm just smoothing out basically the inside. And now we've got to seal. Ah, Nikki's up. Okay. Gotcha. Now we've got to seal this bottom area right here. Okay. You should make one. And you see how I'm just pushing that up? and it's pushing the clay up into the bottom and sealing it. It's almost like magic. It's magical. It's magical clay. Hey, Tim. I one-upped you, man. I have the metal serrated rib of death. Alright, so that's the last time I'm going to go around that. And I'm just going to gently wipe that little ridge off so that I don't mess up the pattern on there. And that part is finished. And now I feel comfortable going in and finishing out the smoothing of the inside. And I'll give you guys a shot of that in a second. This is also, you can kind of belly it out right now at the very bottom, which is nice because it gives you a little bit more room in there. I like finches, they're pretty cool. So I just needed a little bit of extra clay in there. So I just pinched some off and added in. You could even take your rib at this point and just go along the inside, gently, not touching the bottom, and just belly your walls out a little bit. I know I probably missed like a million questions. All right. Refresh screen. So this is what it's looking like on the inside. And I want to make a galley for that lid that I'm going to make. Hey, Tim. And I have already cut a piece that's about a 1/4 inch thick. And I'm just going to place it just underneath the lid, not the rim, so that when I make the lid, I have a place for that to go. And I did cut it with a straight edge. And I'm going to use this nice, my metal rib of death, but a serrated metal rib of death. a lot to say though. A lot to say at one sitting. Now, like I said, there's several different ways you could make a lid, a gallery for this. And I've done it several different ways, and the piece that I showed you guys earlier had one where I just pushed the edge down when it was sitting at about leather hard. This isn't the most efficient way to make a casserole, but oh my god! Way to collapse. Sorry guys. I have my little tripod. It's not the best. And so you're basically going to have to eyeball it right here. To at least 1/4 of an inch. And again, you'll want to do that horizontal cut. Hey, Arlene. Is there a particular way more that makes a more stable lid in your opinion? You know, they're all, you can try many different ways, honestly. But you're going to have to find out what works for you. And what works for me is you never know on any given day. So I have done both. I'm going to unplug real quick. So this right here has a little galley in it, but that's one that I did last night. The bad thing about this is that your lid's only going to fit a certain way. Same with little Scotty dog. It's only going to fit a certain way. And I'm trying to think if I have anything lidded in here that I've done before or that I have on hand. And I do, actually. Now, it was wheel thrown, so that I can't show you that because it doesn't count. We're going to finish this. So, I'm going to take, again, my little thumb compressor thing. You could use a popsicle stick or anything for this. And I'm basically just smoothing this out. And then I'm going to have to go along the bottom. Now for a sponge, I use these little white makeup sponges. I love them. They don't raise the grain of the clay like most sponges do. And they give you a nice smooth finish. So I'm going to take my score marks off. You see how I'm holding my hand behind it as I'm pushing it in? In a second, I'm going to grab the heat gun. And I'm going to try to stabilize this wall some. Now going underneath the lip, I'm doing the same thing that I did on the top. You just have to be careful not to gouge your pot when you go around with the pointy end. Hey, Amy! Amy's pottery family. Well, we're all pottery family, but I think she's married to the most patient man in the world. I used to ask him so many questions every Thursday. He got to the point where he said, 1 question a week, that's it. Because I was always asking questions. Always. Alright guys, I'm pretty happy with this. So I'm going to use the heat gun. Thank you. The pattern comes from a placemat. I got it in Bed Bath & Beyond. I could get my blowtorch because we all like playing with fire, right? So I just want to dry this a little bit before I get the lid. And I've only got about 10 more minutes, so I've got to kind of hurry. I don't want to impede on anybody else's time. But while I'm drying, I want y'all to see. There's the gallery, gallery. And I want to dry it until the tackiness is done. Is it perfect? No. Am I happy with it? Yeah. So I think that's really all that matters. I'm working on that. I have to get this dry before I put that piece of clay in there. I'll lose the entire piece because the lid will stick. I'm going as fast as I can, I promise. Okay. Guess what? We're going to do the lid now. Yay! The crowd goes wild. So, I'm going to move this out of the way for just a moment because we have to put our pattern on our lid. And this is our oval that matched the oval that we had earlier from the same plate. Now when you press this into the clay, I think I'm going to do half of it going one way and half of it going the other way. That way it gives me a little bit more interest than it all going the same way. And you have to kind of think of these design elements as you're going along. I think it's very important. I think it would look kind of ridiculous with just the piece in one direction. Now I don't care if there's a line right down the middle, but there's one half of it. And I have lined it up with the other pattern, with the pattern on the other side. All right, and there we have a pattern on there. So I'm going to take this, I'll pick my casserole back up and bring it back over. And this is how we're going to do the lid. So you take it, this is the pattern side down, okay? Try to get it about as even as you can on each side. And you push down. Not too hard, but just enough to make a dome. And then I'm going to take this cutoff tool, this little harp tool that I have, and I'm going to carefully go around and clean up that edge. I have learned all this from trial and error. I do not have a pottery degree or a ceramics degree. I do not have an art degree, but I have loved art all my life. So the biggest message that I have for all of you out there is if you love it, if you love what you're doing, and this makes your heart happy, then do it. Turkey, Kiki. I talk to my turkeys, guys. So I'm going to dry this real quick. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to show it to y'all, and then I'm going to be done. I just didn't have the privilege of college and all that stuff. But I've always loved art. And I love sharing with people. I love teaching. And you see how I just smoothed that edge? It made it nice and smooth. Let me dry this real quick. Well, hello from Western Australia. What a privilege. 123 people. I'm impressed. I'm very touched, everybody. I'm really, really touched that y'all joined me this evening. I threatened my entire family that if they came out here while I was doing this, there would be consequences. I think they took it to heart. So this is one of the advantages of this standard buff clay drying so fast, is it does help when you are trying to move a process along pretty quick. It is 8 o'clock. It is Nikki's turn, and I would hate to cut into her time. So I'm going to flip this over. It is dry enough for me to do that. Not really. Okay, I lied. The ends are too long. See, we all screw up. So just pretend that this is all pretty. Just pretend, okay? We're gonna pretend. We're gonna pretend. It's a nice thing. That's a nice game right now. We're gonna pretend that this is just how it's supposed to look. It's not perfect, guys. I didn't get to finish it, but I promise you, when I get done with it in a little bit, I'll post a picture of it finished, okay? It has been such a pleasure being with you guys tonight, and thank you so much for being with me.